Hello, traders. It's E from MarketWizards.com. It is the 4th of December, 2022, and I'm reminding traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. Let's take a look at a couple of charts. Earlier in the week, this is one of the charts that I was looking at, and this is an example of an Orbo trade. We can tell by the time. We had a push long, double bottom, broke it just a little bit here. Then we had to push up into the rain line and chopped around. And then we had to sell later in the morning, just after the IB ended. And typically, I'm looking for a trade that aborts by the rain line and then comes back and needs to get under the blue line. And when it does, and we can get a very sharp, fast move. And that typically is the type of trade I love to find. And in a bearish market, you'll find more of them. And in a bullish market, they're much harder to find. But typically, we're going to get something like this in a neutral to bearish market. And then we get the corrective bounce. That's one of the things about the umbrella trade. You need to see green, red, blue, and the magenta line all lined up in that order, and then stay under the blue line. And then once we get above the blue line, then it's obviously much more neutral, and still need to understand where this plays out basis that magenta line, which is our longer term average. So these confirmations are very important to me. And once we do at certain levels, and then they open the door to these other targets as I had posted. And then the aggressive support. I already have ideas where it will be. Never 100% certain of any trade. And that's something that I leave for people smarter than me, because I believe there's risk in every trade. So this was an example of a very nice reversal in the Orbo trade where we could not get above it. And once we reverse and take out this original Orbo low, then the door opens to come test south side. So this is an example of a reversal type trade. Here's an example on Friday where we had pre-market news. I made one simple post: 741 is cover. Uh, you don't need to ask me how I know that. It could have gone another 100 points, 200 points. I just felt that was the right place based on the information I had available in my system. And I said cover. And that turned out to be the low of the day. We never know when that's true or how far it will bounce. It came all the way back up towards the top of that big bar, this gotcha bar that just wipes out. Once we take out this low, then anything in this range is available. This was the target that I had in mind, and I felt that the low was in, and anybody that kept trying to short, you'd get a little something, but it when I looked at the smaller time frames, they all showed that we were still bouncing until the end of the day, and then obviously profits taken by anybody that had taken the contra all day long. And we did get a little bit of a lunch swing and a pullback, but we could never really get any traction going south side. So this turned out to be the lunch contra, and then the bounce into the close, and then profit taking by all alongs who had bought earlier in the day. And don't forget that was the weeklies too, taking some profits on their trade. Anybody had played the week long side was covering and taking some of their profits, and evaporated early, and they hung in there. And then by the end of the day, weeklies usually will take their profits. So we still need to look at other charts for longer term determinations, but this was something that showed up loud and clearly on my work. And this is a look intraday at Friday's range, and we can see the big smoke bar that knocks them out. And then we get the angel set up we get a push, we get a retest of the angel, and we cannot break down the angel. And then we get the bounce and a bounce. We get a little W in here, and then we get a pullback. This is the lunch contra, and we sit, and then we get all of a sudden in the afternoon here, starting around 2 o'clock, we get this program trade, and you can see it. The character of this is completely different from what we had seen back in here. This is just gotcha. We're going long. We're knocking out stops. We come back, but we never do take out the demon at the highs, right in this range. That's your demon right there. And then we get all of the longs after 3 o'clock, then basically are coming back in and profit taking for the day and comes in. That's the way I like to analyze a market with several different charts. It's not just about levels. It's about different ideas all coming together and obviously harmonizing. And we're going to be wrong sometimes on our guess, and we're going to be right sometimes. When we're wrong, take the stop. All you need to do is stop the bleeding and then find another opportunity. Lots of them come every day. All right, one last chart. Let's look at the fourth quarter chart. We're obviously into the December, the last month of the quarter. And what I'm looking at is this reference point, last quarter's low, side-by-side chart. And we can see in this chart that we've had several attempts to break out of jail. Finally, back in November, mid-November, we get this push, we get this takeout, and then we've had this sideways movement for a few weeks. So the jury's still out. Is the low in for the year? I believe it is. I know we're going to be running into resistance, but where will that come? We know that this point back here, this prior high has still held us captive. And so I'm going to keep an eye on that. And obviously we're looking for formation here. This is like a double up here and obviously support back here. And as long as these lows hold, there's big smoke bar. And we can tell we've come back about from here to here. That's the beauty of boxes. We can see that this is 1, 2, 3 boxes up, and we've come back 2, and then we're back here. So in this parlance, certainly we've got an 8, we've got a 3, right? And then we bounce back here, and we've come back 2, and that's what I mean sometimes when I say an 830 type of trade, 838 this would be, because we're right back up to the top, and then we had the pullback. So within these 3 bars right in here, we know we've come back about 2/3 of the way, and that's typical. Come back a big bar about halfway at least normally, before you even think about taking out the low. So if we came all the way back through and took this out and came back in here, then that would be much more dicey for both sides. That would be the middle of this. And as long as we're above the last quarter low, I believe the low is in. If we get down in here, it's still not conclusive, because really this is going to be your trigger. You've got to get a third time through on this trigger right in here. And if you can't take that out, forget it. You're not going to take out this low. So we shall see how the month ends, and next week we'll do an update on this. I am in Connecticut, flew up Friday night, so it'll be a little bit different for me the next few weeks. I don't have the same equipment here that I do at my home office. Certainly be spending time with family, and you'll find that over the holidays it thins out anyways. So it may be more of an academic exercise than throwing a lot of money at the market, but we always try to keep our mind in the game and understand where we are so that we can make informed decisions as to investing our capital. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for listening. Be well.